All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Within Tolerance. This is episode 40, and I'm joined with Dylan once again. And today we're going to be talking a little bit of everything from vacuum fixtures to all sorts of fun stuff that are going on in the world right now. So, Dylan, start us off.
Yeah, so both of the things that I wrote down here, live stories and vacuum fixture success, kind of go hand in hand. So this last week, if you guys follow our Instagram, follow Peyton and I's personal Instagram, I think we kind of split all the stories up between all of them. But we did a few lives together. I did a live with Yeti Man at one point. I did, I was doing lives all week just to, kind of fill the void that I feel like a lot of these, a lot of people are at home now and maybe want some more machining content. So I was working on first building the vacuum fixture for the grills that I've talked about on the show before, and then running the grills. And so that was kind of my late last week, most of the weekend, and a little bit of last night. And it worked great. It held the parts really well. I was able to rough the pockets through the entire grill faster than ever before. I think I dropped 25 minutes off the cycle time by going to vacuum. Plus,
Nice.
that's not even including all of the time that I was using moving clamps around either. And I added facing the entire presentation side of the grill too, which I didn't have before. It was just raw stock that I would sand like a sander. So it came out great. They look really great. I'm really glad I had the vacuum fixture because they warp like crazy. I remembered this from last time too, but the vacuum fixture holds them so tight that they are perfectly flat right until you release the vacuum, and then it pops off and it looks like a potato chip.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, he doesn't care because he bends them anyway to the contours of the hood. So like he already expects them to be. He expects to bend them regardless, so it doesn't matter if they're a little curved.
Oh, that's nice on your end then.
Oh, totally. It would be if he was calling out flatness or anything like that, I would be in some serious shit right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they came out great. I mean, I was running a 3/16 tool to do all the roughing and semi finishing of the pockets at like 130 inches a minute, ramping into them and doing the walls, and then like a feed optimization in the corners at 80 or something like that.
Okay.
And there's 120 pockets per grill, and I did 10 grills, and I mean, the tool looked brand new, and the vacuum fixture held the entire time. The only bit of issue I ran into was on op 2. I had plugged all the vacuum holes and was just using the vacuum to suck the fixture plate back down, because then I was banking up against some pins that I placed in the fixture and then holding it down with little cap screws. And all of a sudden I was like, man, like the chamfers in the middle are all like way bigger on the backside than they are on the sides. And like there's no tolerance. It's just an edge break. Like nobody sees that anyway. But I was like, what's going on? And then I realized that the vacuum uh, power unit was just not vacuuming it at all. Like I was
Oh.
like, what the hell? And so I took the hoses off of the vacuum fixture itself and felt the ends of them, and lo and behold, they were blowing air, not sucking air. And I was like, what is going
Oh.
on? And so I like took it apart and saw one of the O-rings was slightly scarred. So I flipped that thing around and it got slightly better, but I was like, man, something's still not right. And I don't know. I probably spent an hour, hour and a half, like trying to figure out what was going on and comping the tools to try to just account for it. And, I was really just trying to get them done. And then finally, I looked on Pearson's website, and of course, Jay, being the guy he is, has a breakdown video and like shows you how to take it apart, shows you what pieces are user serviceable, and there's a little Venturi valve in there that creates the vacuum, and it can and will get blocked up by stuff. And I think at some point it must have sucked up a few tiny chips, because I used a pin to knock everything out, put it back together, and it worked fine. And
Huh.
sucked the vacuum fixture totally flat, and I didn't have any problems with chamfers for the rest of the night. So that's if you do have one of those things, expect it to lose pressure eventually. It might take a really long time. Like we've had ours for, I don't know, 8 months or something like that, and like we haven't been using it constantly, but we also we've used it a fair bit. And yeah, just pay attention to it. Like if you see the button pop up, and even covering just like the bare hoses coming off of it, you can't get it to suck the button down, saying that it has vacuum pressure, then you know that you've got something clogged in there. And it's really easy to take apart. The video is really great on PearsonWorkholding.com. Just follow it step by step. It takes about, I don't know, 2 minutes, if that. Like, there's 4 screws. You take it apart. You pop out 3 little pieces. Check them each. Blow them off. He says in the video, I think that you can soak them in like degreaser or something like that if you need to. And then I put it back together and perfect. So
It's one of those things. It's how do you account for that beforehand when quoting, right?
oh, totally. And it was one of those things that like I had never um I didn't realize that that was a thing that could happen. Like
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it could suck up. I'm still not sure if it sucked up something or if I don't know, somehow chips got worked in. I really don't know the air passage flow. Like I don't have a flow chart to know exactly where it goes, so I'm not quite sure where it came from. But yeah, there's like a really small, I think it's 66 thou pin is what he tells you to use, and I think I measured it at like 70 something. And like yeah, it just had a few little chips in there. They weren't even obstructing the entire thing; they were just obstructing part of it, and that was enough to prevent the thing from working. So um, definitely worth noting. And I should have checked there first. I should have been like, well, of course he's got a video, or of course he's got like some kind of troubleshooting thing. But I was bullheaded, I guess, and just like, well, I can figure this out. I'm a smart
Yeah.
guy. I got this, um, so anyway, it worked great. Vacuum fixture worked fantastic. I can't believe how much time I saved. And I mean, there's still like an hour per grill, or like right around that, 50 something minutes. And I might even try to push a little hard, but right now I'm running up to like my rougher is not taking the majority of the time. It's finishing them all because they all have a really tiny corner radius. And so I have to go back in there after the 3/16 and finish them all with a smaller end mill. And then chamfering takes a while because it's like a fairly big chamfer. I run it as fast as I can, and it just to get the level of finish that he expects, I just have to run some tools slower than I'd like, and I'm still happy with it. Like I said, I saved a whole bunch of time. I saved a whole bunch of hand finishing. They're really easy now. I think next time I'm gonna have to set them up on the TC instead of the Speedio. But besides that, I'm super happy with them.
What is the RPM on your new machine again?
10K.
For whatever reason, I thought it was more. Huh.
They come with a 16K spindle if you don't get the big, not the big plus, the high torque spindle.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got I think 4 or 5 more horsepower than the standard spindle,
Gotcha.
but it comes at the expense of RPM.
Yeah, just kind of weigh your options. What's the inside corner radius?
It's 50, I think.
Okay.
So I think I'm using a 3/32 in there.
Okay.
So I can still run it fairly quick and get a decent finish, and like I just slow it down in the corners. But when you have 120 pockets, even with brother rapids and all that stuff, and feeding
It
the
doesn't
bottom,
matter.
no, it still just takes time. And I got to do that. I got to chamfer them. I got to chamfer the outside. I do use those same little button head screws on the outside when I'm roughing all the pockets, just as extra security. I might not need them, but if you watch like Pearson's videos, the number one thing that can lead to vacuum failure is either pulling the part up or pulling the part, like shifting this part sideways.
Yeah.
And so having just a couple tiny, they're just little 632 cap screws, just that I drilled and tapped them close enough to where the edges cut after the first part of the run, that the head of them just becomes like a little hold down clamp. And so I
Okay.
just screw those in. There's a little MO. It pops over to the door. There's a little MO. I pop the screws in there, hit go again, and it roughs all of the pockets, finishes all the pockets, and then at the very end, I pop them back out, and it chamfers the outside because the chamfer is like, I don't know, 100 thou. So I wouldn't have the material to grip if I didn't do it before the chamfer.
Yeah.
But worked great, and I was really really happy with it.
That's good. Are those done now?
They are done for now. Yeah. Oh, so that was actually something else I wanted to talk about. I didn't talk about. I talked a little bit about on one of the live streams. So this story is not to pat myself on the back at all. This is just, and it really isn't. I'm only sharing it because I think it's really important, like in these trying times that we are in right now, that you you give a little bit, like everybody's going through the same thing, and we all need to have a little bit of, I don't know that sensitivity is the right word, but so anyway,
Looking out for each other.
yeah, looking at so the guy that buys these for me is another small company. It's just him. I think he's even got a day job too, and this is just like his passion project and something that he wants to make full time eventually as well. So like I totally understand where he's coming from. And then when all of this went down, he had ordered, I think, double the amount of grills that he had orders for, or something like that, because business was booming right up until all of this happened.
Yeah.
And so I just felt really crappy about taking a whole bunch of money, especially when, the first thing that goes in these kind of situations is luxury items,
Yeah.
really high end stuff that you don't need. And so I thought about it, and I just didn't feel right, sending him all these grills that might sit on his shelf for a year, 2 years. I
Yeah.
don't know how this is all going to shake out. So I called him early last week, and was like, "Hey, I know you said you only have," because he only had like firm orders for a handful of them, and I was like, "I know you only have orders for this many. You ordered this many. Like, if you want to back out of those right now and just pay me for the material I bought, that's totally fine. Let me know now, and like we can, look, I'll put your name on the material. I'll put it on the shelf, and I know you're going to be here when this all comes back, and we can run them then." And he was like, "Oh, that's," like he had never, I don't think, even thought about it. He was just like, "Well, that's a sunk cost."
Yeah.
And he was super appreciative of it, and I just felt better about it. Like I want him as a lifetime customer. I'd rather not screw him over now and then not have him as a customer next year because he went out of business,
And honestly, it's not like you'd be screwing him even if you took the larger order, really. It's just you're doing a step ahead of maybe what he didn't think of.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and personally, it just felt better. Like I really like the guy. I like what he's doing. I like making parts for him. The last thing I wanted him to do is violate that lean tenant of having extra stock that you're carrying, excess stock or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Overall, I just felt a lot better about it, and so he was really happy about it. I felt better about it. It all worked out. It still was enough to prove the fixture and make that worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like I said, I'm not sharing this to say like, oh, this is how great I am. I'm sharing it because I think that we all need to remember, like, these are really tough times for everybody, and like we need to lend a helping hand to anybody who can.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the big thing over the last week that kind of happened. Yeah, the other so we did a whole bunch of live stories. If you guys are following the Instagram and you like those, definitely let us know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of cool to get to peek into some people's shops. I did one with Easton too. I did one with you. Jeff was great to talk to for a while. So yeah, I'd love to have more people do collaborative live stuff. But just let us know. Like if nobody likes them and nobody wants to watch them, then I'll just stick to doing stories or posts or whatever. But I thought it was kind of cool and it was fun. So
Yeah, I don't think people are gonna say they don't like them.
yeah, I guess that's true. Oh, and I guess the last thing I put there is the new Fusion tool library. Have you looked at it?
Should I?
um, so I did see it today that they just released another update yesterday for it, but I literally turned it on. It's one of those preview things. I took a 5 or 6 minute look at it and was just so, I don't know that disgusted is the right word, but like,
Uh-oh.
oh, it's just not good. It's not user friendly at all. I already think that the Fusion tool library is not like the best of the bunch, and so like for them to take a step back just felt really bad. There was like just a bunch of little things that made it, I don't know, like it wasn't intuitive, it wasn't easy to find tools, it wasn't easy to apply things to tools. I think that new update made certain things a little easier, but I don't know. I'll have to play with it a little more. Maybe you can touch on it too, and we can regroup in a couple weeks. But yeah, it just makes me worried because yeah, like I said, I already don't think that their tool libraries are all that intelligent,
Well,
and
I
so
just started playing with it honestly because, like I said, I've been talking to you, and we can talk later. I want to make some cool templates, um, and I've never liked it from the beginning.
yeah, yeah, it is. I will tell you, heaps better than the one that's in HSM Works. Like the one in HSM Works is horrible. It
Okay,
like it. There are certain things I like about it better, like certain things that about how it's organized, but like you have to search by certain terms in the HSM Works one, or it won't find certain tools. Like you have to. There is a box before the search box that says like diameter is or name includes, and like you have to choose one of those and then search by that term rather than just having a global search that you can search any name or number and it pops up.
oh geez.
So yeah, it's I don't know. We'll see. I I hope that it's in preview for a reason and that they are really getting some user feedback because it just man, it was not. I did not like where it was going or where it looked like it was going.
Yeah, and speaking of Fusion, I don't know if you knew this, but they've raised the price, and now it's not really available for free at all.
Yeah, well, I figured that out. I don't know, a month ago maybe.
Yeah, same.
They like I had never been paying for it. I was under the startup license,
Okay.
and that had always been up to like 100 grand of sales. And they changed that. I don't know, like a month or two ago. I can't remember when I had to buy mine, but I reapplied for the startup thing, and they were like, "Oh no, we're only doing businesses that are making their own product now, or
Which
like
makes no sense.
or like research companies or something like that."
Yeah.
So like anybody who uses Fusion as a service, so like design, prototyping, prototype manufacturing, anything like that, they have kicked off of that license. And like
Yeah.
on one hand, I guess I understand it. On the other hand, it just sucks that like I've been such a big proponent for what 5 6 years now of Fusion and like used it and brought it into a bunch of shops and then like I don't want to say that like it felt like a backstab, but it just felt weird that like all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, you're done." And like I got it at a discount when they did that, which is nice, but
Yeah.
um yeah, I don't know. It just it felt weird.
Yeah, I've been like you said, I've only been using Fusion Hard for like 2 years, but for the past year and a half I've been paying, but I got it at like 300, and if you got it at a sale price, and they normally do sales, you're from what I know and what I talked to them on the phone, you're grandfathered in after. So like I pay like 310 or something. So each subscription now every year is 310.
Yeah, that's what I just paid for it.
Okay.
Because they were doing like a discount, I guess, to soften the blow of being kicked off the free license. The actually and really I don't mind paying for it. Like I make enough money with it that it totally makes sense for me to pay for it. I'm totally okay with that. What makes it tough is now they've also made it impossible if you have a free license, if you have one of the hobbyist ones, the education ones, or the entrepreneur ones or whatever, you can't collaborate with a paid version one.
Really?
Yeah, there is now a block there, and so like I was helping out a guy, like helping the guy that I actually programmed for. I was helping him train and stuff through a free version I had a long time ago, a free license, and I couldn't access any of his files after that went through, and so I had to just push all of those files into my Proteum account, which was fine, but like it was just annoying.
That's just a bad disconnect on their end. You know, if there's like a startup company that has the free license, well, I guess not anymore, but or a school or something that's trying to collaborate with, I don't know, like a machine shop, like it just, I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misread it, but like the ways I tried to use it, and collaborate between a paid and a free, it did not work at all. So yeah, it we'll just kind of have to play it by ear, I guess, and see where it all shakes out. Like, thankfully, it seems like they are following through with their promise and not taking away any of the functionality to like the lowest paid tier. They're just adding it with that extension module.
Yeah.
And so as long as they do that, I'm okay paying, $300 or $500 or whatever. That's totally fine. There are definitely some things in the manufacturer extension that I kind of want, um,
Yeah.
but not enough to pay $1,200 a year.
Yeah. No thanks.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just happy that it's still working and still a great software. I guess I can't complain too much.
Yeah, throwback to like a year ago. Remember when we were having those problems with Fusion when it had that one update that everyone was panicking about?
Yeah, I mean that's I feel like that's still one thing that they could really improve, is making either more physical beta testers, like find people that actually use it hard, or just find some way to let you roll back a version if something breaks. Like, that
Yeah.
people have been asking for that for a long time, and I think that there's definitely better ways to do that than they're doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
still see. So what about you? What's going on in your neck of the woods? You're stuck at home.
Yep. Luckily, I have
Um,
a machine at home.
yeah, so you must be getting stuff done, right?
Yeah, that's the nice thing. Yeah, it was interesting watching your live with what's his name, Yeti Man.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. It was interesting because I had followed him, but I didn't realize he had a machine at home.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was
he's
kind of cool.
pretty funny.
Yeah, so I mean, things are going. You know, I know we texted about this briefly. I don't want to talk too much about this, but the whole situation that's going on in the world right now, I'm actually working with an old friend I went to college with. He's an engineer, but he's also a machinist at a local company. And here in Washington, I don't know if it's different than like Arizona where you are or anyone else, but I know Washington, I mean, really certain other areas like New York and stuff, it's really bad.
Hmm.
But like a lot of these machine shops in my area, sounds like they're like really in bad shape, like potentially going bankrupt type shape. Um, and a lot of them. And so I know my friend basically got laid off. And so he's working. There's a makerspace that I've helped with a little bit. Um, and they've got like CNC machines, a couple manual machines, really a lot of composite stuff and welding type stuff. But what's cool is we have access. There's a lot of volunteers that go there, and a lot of them are older guys, retired engineers and stuff. Long story short, we're working on taking off the shelf products and making them into like legitimate respirators. And one of the ways that I'm helping is, I'm taking this one like valve piece, actually two connector pieces and one valve, and they're 3D printing it, but I'm like, why don't we just machine it? And so we're basically taking this idea of taking these off the shelf, filters and masks to make legitimate respirators. And I'm kind of being like, okay, this can be manufactured, yes or no. And then since no one really has access to a machine other than this makerspace and myself, I'm in theory going to be prototyping and running these in the next week or so.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so it's kind of cool because I mean, some of the engineers we have are like, I can't even remember what they are, but one guy made like he had a vape pen design, but since Washington State got really hard on that, he scrapped the idea. But since he did that, he has like a legit working model of a human lung, and so we're able to use that to test the amount of airflow that we're getting with this respirator. Um, and supposedly, I'm not in this side of it, but the electronics to this motor, we have like, I think it's, I don't remember, I think 65 liters a minute of air, or something like that. And we only need like 10. And so we can use this model to make sure we're getting that. Um, and I didn't realize with these filters, you're not only filtering the outside air for the person wearing it, but you also have to filter the exhaust air
Right.
in
So if
case
they
the
have it, it
person,
doesn't.
yeah, which I never thought of, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. That actually
So
gets into. So I posted right before we started this on our Instagram, and Furman Engineer actually asked that same question. Like, let's talk about machinable parts that can help with COVID. That's really awesome that you're getting involved with that. I would love to do something like that, but I don't even know where to start. I know there's all of these people 3D printing and machining face mask shields.
yeah, and like splitters for air filters.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't want to. I don't know how helpful they are because I don't know anybody that's using them right now.
Yeah,
I see a whole bunch of people making them, and I've seen a very select few people post that like they actually went somewhere. Like I
exactly.
know Carl Bass, they were making face shields just out of old hats, and I don't know if they were transparencies or what that they would cut and shape to the front of the bill, and like those I know went to nurses because they posted about them. But I don't know if that was just because he's very well connected, and so he knew the right people to talk to and get them in the right hands. But the last thing I want to do is make hundreds of face mask shields and just have them be completely useless. Like have
Yeah.
nurses say either I don't want them or we can't use them or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and that's why I'm kind of it's kind of a weird position, right? At least for where I'm at and where you're at. Like, okay, these guys are doing this project, and I'm like, okay, I raise my hand and I'm like, I want to help, okay. And so now I'm thrown into this loop, and I'm questioning the same things you just said. Like, okay, is this just something we're doing because we think we're helping, or like, are we actually serious about this and like we're gonna make this work? Like, legitimately, we're going to make this work.
Right.
Um,
And
eh,
really, like, all I need, like, if a hospital was like, we can use your 3D printed face shields, like, if they just posted that or put it in the newspaper or whatever, I'd start making them immediately. Like, no problem
exactly,
at all. But, like, I don't want to dedicate capacity to something that might be completely useless when I could use that capacity either making money so that my business sustains through this or wait and let until I know what I need to do.
exactly. Yeah. So I'm kind of sitting back, and they're sending me files, and I'm like, okay, no, we can't do that. Change this, this, and this. That's kind of where I'm at. And if it gets to the point where it's like, okay, make 50 of these, um, like, sure, why not? Like, I got nothing to lose. And I don't know. It's just really weird.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It is, this whole thing is strange, and it's, I don't know. I really want to help. But yeah, like I said, it's just it. I don't know. I don't know how to appropriately apply the skills and the things that I have.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll just keep my eyes and ears open. Maybe I'll reach out to somebody and see if like they've got an idea. I know a few people that are in the medical field that aren't doctors and nurses, and so maybe I can touch base with them and see if they've heard of anything or anything like that. Currently, Tucson's not too bad. I mean, Arizona has, I forget, like 1,000 cases or something like that. Let's see, but my county is not that bad. Yeah, so we've got like 1,200 cases total in Arizona right now. But it's gonna get bad. Like I know it. That's just how this works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to help, and I am available to help. I need to know where to apply that. So
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of validation. Like you said, there needs to be the people at the top say, like, yes, we need this, like, machine this part. And then it's like, oh, okay.
right, like I think it was the FDA like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, came out and said like we will not go after anybody who makes sanitizer. And so like all of these companies are transitioning to make hand sanitizer, and like that's what I need is like somebody to be like, your 3D printed masks will be used by nurses on the front line, and it'd be like, cool, I've got a 3D printer at home, keep that thing running, 20 hours a day, no problem.
Yeah.
Or buy a whole big sheet of HDPE or something like that and just start machining them like crazy. I've got that big vacuum fixture that would be perfect for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody listening has seen information like that or knows the people to get in contact with, please reach out and let us know. We are happy to help, but we need to know that we are going to be helping.
Yeah, I don't want just to spend my time thinking I'm helping to have stuff go in a dumpster and not that I know about.
Right. Yeah, and this is not like I just don't want to like feel like I'm contributing by
I want to know it.
right. Well, and yeah, like we have a valuable skill. We have something that could be very useful in this. But like doing something just so I feel good about it is not good enough. Like I
Yeah.
actually need to be helping people, and that's the line, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyways, and that kind of goes to my next point. Business is kind of weird right now. I don't know about you, but like it's just weird going I don't know. It's weird going out cuz like I have to go to the post office still. And they've done up my post office with all sorts of crazy safety precautions and rightfully so, but it's just like I'm not getting really any new customers and my old ones everyone's just kind of like silent right now.
Yeah, I've had a few inquiries of like new customers and stuff, but nothing serious as of yet. But yeah, it is just a little weird. I think everybody's kind of holding their breath and waiting to see what goes on. It's things are changing so insanely rapidly. Like literally, the news day to day is changing a crazy amount. So yeah, I don't know. It's just really strange. I think that if we can weather this storm, there will unfortunately be a lot of shop closures, like you said. Like I think that there are people who aren't going to make it through this, and I think that that's going to lead to a lot of people who. Hold on a sec. Sorry, my dinner went off on the stove. I think that there's going to be a lot of people who don't weather this storm very well, and I think that means there's going to be a lot of opportunities on the tail end of this, both on companies trying to onshore a lot of stuff because they don't trust, not that they don't trust overseas manufacturing, but like we've seen now, when a place like China goes into lockdown, like you don't get your product for months. Um, and like right now, I don't know if I don't know if you follow Discommon on Instagram.
Don't think so.
They're a design service, but they've been really instrumental. Like they do a lot of design work through China, and so they have really good contacts there. And they've been working with a factory out of there to ship like hundreds of thousands of masks and needed supplies to the U.S. But even shipping that kind of stuff, like they're constantly dealing with every other day. There's like a border closure in China. Certain companies sometimes are allowed to ship out of there, or sometimes they're not. Like right now, they're working with like FedEx and some other big airlines to get stuff over here. But it just shows like I think there's going to be a lot of companies now that are going to onshore as much as they possibly can afford because of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that if you are a business and you're holding on, like I think if you can hold on and you can live lean for the next who knows how long, I really think that any business that comes out of this in a position to take on work is going to be in a really really strong position, and that's what I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that a lot of businesses can stay on because I think there's going to be a lot more work of companies bringing stuff back.
Yeah, I hope so.
But yeah, I, I think business is weird is like everything is weird right now, let
Yeah.
alone business. I think business is just getting lumped into life is super weird right now. And yeah, all we can do is just, I don't know, be the best people we can and do the right thing. Stop hoarding toilet paper. You don't need 4,000 rolls, I promise. um, I keep seeing the meme that's like a guy and a doctor, and the doctor's like, unfortunately, you've tested positive for COVID. And the guy's like, how is that possible? I have so much toilet paper. It's like, yeah, it's not going to save you. it doesn't cause diarrhea except for like 0.8% of cases or something. Stop hoarding stupid stuff like that. Like, just be a normal person. Everybody's saying like have enough food and supplies on hand for like 2 weeks. So like if you do get it, you can stay at home and you can self quarantine yourself.
Yeah.
But otherwise, don't be ridiculous. You don't need like 90 eggs. Like, I'm running low on eggs because I can't find them anywhere. It's like, come on, guys. Like, our supply chains have not stopped. Like, truckers are still, thankfully, like moving stuff across the country just like normal. So like there should be, every couple days the things you need, but because of people hoarding, they're just gone. So,
Yeah.
just, yeah, be kind to your neighbor, try to help those around you, be a good person. I don't know. It's like super easy stuff that you would think you don't have to tell people and that you don't think that like people should have to learn. But I don't know. I guess that's just like a big learning experience for our country is like, be a good person. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
unfortunately, we have to have this happen for people to realize that.
Right. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah, like I've tried to go for a hike the last couple weekends too, and like everybody's out there now because they're like, "Oh, I'm stuck at home, so I should go out into nature." And it's like, really, because I guarantee you, the last 6 months you have not stepped out into nature unless you absolutely
Yeah.
had to. Like,
Yeah.
it's like all of a sudden sunshine is a priority to you. I don't think so. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, it's weird. It really is. I wish I could stop sounding like a broken record, but I really don't. I don't have words for just what is going on. It's I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, so anyways,
But
moving
yeah,
on.
moving on.
Molding. I've been molding a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, we were
So
watching that on the live stream. That was really cool to see. I love your little hand one. Like, that's I had like you had always said a hand one, and for some reason I expected like a like hand press where you were
Oh
like
yeah,
pressing
yeah.
down the plunger and stuff. But it's way more tech than that. Like, literally all you have to do is load it by hand, it seems like.
Yeah, that's about it. You're basically the robot.
Yeah. That's
But
that's super cool.
yeah, that's running great. The boy machine is running great for I don't even think yeah, I haven't talked about it. I got a mold frame. Well, I talked about this 2 weeks ago, but I finally got it running. So I got this old mold running, but just recently after running it, I noticed a couple more seals on the machine are giving out. Um, so I just got a quote for replacing all of them. There's probably, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, probably 12 seals and probably even more O-rings because there's always like a seal and two O-rings behind it or something. Um, so I got a quote for like $250 to get all the seals, and that should cover me. And I'm probably just gonna go for it and replace them all, and then know that everything's kind of up to date. Because I just recently, like a couple months ago, replaced those other ones, and it'd be nice to kind of know, okay, we should be good now.
Yeah, that's exciting. I remember like you had some serious ups and downs with that too.
Yeah,
So I'm glad that like they gave you a quote for what you needed this time, and it wasn't like, well, we'll come out for like 10 grand and we'll see where we're
yeah,
at. Like,
yeah. That was ridiculous.
yeah, I was super worried that you had just like a giant pile of scrap in your garage
Yeah.
for a while, but it seems like it's just rocking and rolling now, and it sounds like you're less afraid of kind of digging into it now too, which is great.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking with one of my buddies about, because I had asked him, the guy that I drove over 3 hours to, I asked him to come help me replace these seals because I didn't know what I was doing. But, you know, he said no basically a while ago. And I was like, crap, like I got to do this. But I told him when I was there, I'm like, actually, thank you for like not coming because I now feel way more comfortable, like, undoing screws and stuff, as stupid as that sounds, but like I just feel way more comfortable working on this thing. Because I was always worried, like, okay, there's all this hydraulic stuff. Like, should I not be undoing this? Like, I know there's fluid back there. This sounds like a bad idea. This is a 25-ton machine that has that much force behind it. Like, but he's like, as long as the pump's off, nothing's pressurized. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. But it just took that first, opening that up and doing it to realize, okay, this isn't that bad.
Yeah, not at all. I feel like a lot of people go through that, whether it's cars or machinery or anything like that. Like, you're super hesitant. You think that everything's going to fail the first time, and then you go through something. You're like, oh, that was easy. Like all I have to be is like a somewhat competent, mechanically minded person, and I can do any of this.
Yeah, same goes with like my machine, machining in the past, like working on like old lathes and stuff. It's just like just do it. Like don't be afraid. Like it's just a piece of machinery. Like as long as you like are aware of what you're working on, take the proper precautions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to you kind of getting all that squared away and really kicking ass with that thing. It was it was super cool to see in the live video, like watching it run and your stories too, watching it run and pump out parts. I was glad to see that you were selling some of those full sprues
Yeah.
after we talked about that, because that it hurts my mind thinking that you were making parts to grind them up, but I understand why you were doing it.
Yeah, I'm already planning on two things. I'm planning on a production mold for some actual guns that will be sellable, which is nice. Um, and I priced out. So this frame I use is it's called a MUD, mold universal die set, I think is what it stands for. But there's also it's actually a company, and I don't remember what it stands for. But they got bought out by DME, which is another big molding supply company. But it's like a 5 by 8 inch by 2 inch thick. That's like the basic size of it. And I priced out some aluminum to, like, let's say I want to make another one, and it was only like 50 or $60 per side. So like, I don't even think it was that much, to be honest. I think it was like $100 to get a foot of it, and that can make like a one mold. So to make a larger mold for only $100, like that's not that bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
So I'm looking into that. I'm kind of designing some stuff. And like we had talked about, I want to make a mold for these Lego guns, but I don't want to have ejector pins on the part because I think that ruins the aesthetic of it. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
I agree.
filing through my list of guns that I make and trying to pick, the ones that I know I won't have issues with coming out, like pulling them out of the mold. So I think I have a small handful and baby steps. I'm not going to make this giant elaborate mold that makes 20 parts at a time. I'm going to try to make one that makes maybe 8 or so.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I mean, it's like the absolute worst case is that your mold is garbage and you've wasted $100 and learned some really good lessons, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing you do that because yeah, it'll be super nice to just have that thing chugging away while you're making parts on the mill or something like that and just making you money.
Yeah, because my thought is okay, because like we've talked about on that smaller machine, like if I run out of something, like it's not that big of a deal to make like a couple hundred of them, but I have to be there. And if I can make maybe, I don't know, I probably have 50 to 60 of these little molds. And if I can make just maybe 5 of these larger molds, run them in, black, tan, dark tan, all the popular colors, for I don't know, couple days, and I'd be stocked up for years on parts.
Right. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And it's not like the plastic costs that much. It's not like these little guns take up that much room, so it's not like an inventory problem. So it'd just be nice to kind of not have to worry about the older inventory and just look at the new stuff.
Yeah, totally. I think if you had like a bank of all of your hot sellers, then it would definitely free you up to experiment with new stuff and run the mill more and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's nice that I have with my phase converter, I have enough power that I can run the mill and the boy at the same time. Otherwise, it'd be kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'm glad you have enough for both.
I think the boy actually takes more power than my Haas,
That's crazy.
and I think that's mainly just for when it heats up.
Oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
So, and it's got a giant motor on it, so I guess I don't even know how much horsepower that giant motor is. So, yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, well, it's got that's the motor's probably on the hydraulic pump, right?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. That
So,
checks out.
yep.
So what's going on with UV printing?
So I'm troubleshooting this. I don't talk about this machine enough, and I really do because people don't appreciate the amount of work that goes into printing some of these Lego figures. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm over here, like, spending hours just for my printer to print white perfectly. Like, that's it.
Really?
That's all I want is white to print nice and clean. That's it. And so I'm going through all these measures, replacing this, replacing that. And there's a couple wear items on these machines. There's what's called a capping station, which basically the print head, it sucks the ink out of it and cleans it. And that's like every 30 days you replace that. And it's like $100. It's like, okay, that's not a big deal. But
Jeez.
the print head's $1,000. And that's like every 8 to 12 months, but it's looking like mine's bad and it's only been 6 months, and I'm really questioning that.
Ugh.
So
That's a lot of overhead for that machine.
yeah, plus ink being $250 a bottle, and there's 6 colors.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like
So
almost more expensive than machining.
I was gonna make that joke. I was working on it today. I'm like, on the podcast, I'm gonna make that joke, but I'm like, no, don't say that.
It's true though. I mean, like, I can't like spending a few $1,000s in tooling. Like, I do that. I don't know, not that often.
Yeah,
At least
maybe
not
every
all at
other year.
once. Like maybe that's the. I mean, I guess that's the big thing is like spending $1,000 at a time would be like a lot of tooling unless you're buying crazy insert tooling or something. But like as far as normal end mills, that would be a lot of end mills.
Yeah.
So I guess just the fact that it comes all at once seems like it's just a lot. So that's nuts.
Yeah, so and it doesn't help that their tech support is working from home. So like I'm calling these guys and they're picking up in their kitchen, and it's like I want to talk to Dave, and oh, Dave's not here, and now I'm talking to Brandon or whoever it is, and it's like, can I just talk to the same tech every time? Um and then like their system was down today, so they couldn't look at my case, and it's just like, oh gosh.
Jeez. Oh, speaking of tech from home, real quick, I definitely wanted. I mean, I don't think he listens, but I wanted to shout out Mitsubishi tech support. We were using some of their inserts on a new boring bar at work, and we wanted some speeds and feeds recommendations, and I called them. Guy immediately picked up. Like there was not even a teleprompter system or anything. He was working from home. I gave him the diameter of the tool, the insert, the grade, all that stuff, what I was working on, and within 30 seconds, he had every single thing I needed.
That's awesome.
It was so nice. Like I just could not believe because their website is utter trash. I could not find a surface foot or chip per tooth for any insert on there. Not even close. There was like, explanations about the grades and explanations about the coatings and explanations about how they come to their cutting speed formulas. And I was like, yeah, but where's your cutting speed? Like these formulas and these calculators are useless without the actual information. And so I was totally expecting the same results when I called them. And then I was just blown away. I was like, well, okay, if it's this easy, I'll call them every single time I have a question. No problem.
Yeah.
So that made things a little easier. But
Now, if
yeah.
every company was like that, man.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't mind talking to people. I know there's some people who really don't like calling. Like if I can talk to somebody really nice who clearly knows what they're doing and knows their product, I've got no problem calling people. I mean, the only time I don't like it is like when it's midnight and I'm trying to troubleshoot something and it's like, well, your website has no information, so thanks.
Yeah.
But besides that, like if it's during business hours and I can call you, sure, I'll call you because it's usually quite a bit quicker than waiting on an email back.
Yeah, seriously.
So what else you got going on?
So, I'm trying to think. I wrote down here templates. I'm working on my Fusion template cuz we had talked about this. I have some tools in here already, but the idea is if I can load up a part and basically, right click, create from template or whatever, and a bunch of tool paths apply. And kind of going back to what Angela was saying, like rely on the defaults to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
And then with these tools I have, I put in all conservative speeds and feeds. So like I know it would work pretty much in every scenario. And so it would apply all that. If let's say the roughing is like 10 minutes, I'm like, wow, that's really, slow. I'll just simply go into that operation and update that, because I know it's slow to begin with. But, I really think that would eliminate a lot of repetitive stuff I've been doing. Like I can't tell you how many times I've created a half-inch end mill in Fusion. Like, why am I doing that?
Oh, well, you definitely got to get at least your tool library sorted then. It
Exactly.
sounds like
Yeah.
even just a tool library would take care of a lot of your issues.
Yeah.
Like I've got three tool libraries on the cloud, like one for the TC with my normal tools and they're already numbered and everything, speeds and feeds, one for the Speedio, and then a generic Proteum tool one. And I've wanted to make one for like steel Proteum tools and then aluminum Proteum tools, but I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
But just that alone, like I just drag tools into my job every time. Taps and stuff, I don't. I just pull them out of the samples. But like all of the end mills that I know I have specific speeds and feeds for are already in there.
Yeah. See, I need to do that. And then I'm working on I've had this, but I have an orange vise loaded up and I've got some jaws I designed that basically just mimicking my Talon jaws. And I'm gonna need your help or someone's help with this, but making like a parametric stock, I think that'd be really cool. So I can just drag in the solid and I can just type in what I want for the stock size.
Yeah, totally. We can work on that together because I need to do that so that I can have my orange subplate template working. So
Okay, yeah.
we can go through that together, no problem.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Um, yeah, it's there's a lot that you can do in Fusion to make things a lot easier, and that's one thing I really need to focus on. I think this next week I've got still have orders that I need to get out. Actually, I had the TC running this weekend too while I was running the grills, which was really nice. It was a little hectic because they were 1 minute cycle times on the TC and an hour on the Speedio. So I'd change parts like 60 times on the TC and then turn around and do everything on the Speedio. But
That's funny.
um, yeah, it's crazy. Like it's a 20-year-old machine now, and it is still really fast.
Oh, I
um,
bet. Yeah.
oh, that was the other thing I posted in my stories. Is so we were having issues with the y-axis homing. Every time we would turn it on after letting it sit for a day or so, home Y, we'd get a y-axis. I don't think it was over travel, but some kind of y-axis homing error. And I finally found where the limit switches were on the y-axis and pulled the panel off, and it was just like packed with chips. And then to get to it, I was like, well, I'll pull the way covers off the front of the y-axis, and like that was packed with chips too, because it's all the way the brothers are. It's not the same exact way on the Speedio, but it's similar. The y-axis is actually like a channel that the ball screw runs down, and it's open from in the chip tray to the rear like chip exit. And so like chips don't get up there often. Like it doesn't. It takes a while, but I don't know when the last time this machine was cleaned. The TC, it might have been 20 years ago, for all
Yeah.
I know. Dennis would have to tell me. But yeah, so I took that apart, cleared all the chips out of there, cleared all the chips out of the limit switches, cleaned all that up, and now it works flawlessly. And that thing is just, I really like that machine. Like I love the Speedio, but I really like the TC, and like with a few little changes, I think it would be like a perfect second machine. Like I'd really love a auto greaser because right now it's all manual lube.
Oh, really?
And I'd love a tool setter if I could get a tool setter on there. Like spindle probing would be the ultimate, but I don't think that control can support it. But like a tool setter would be killer.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it'd almost be really nice if you could find another one of those cheap or something.
Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling our next machine will either be another new Speedio or like a B0 control because those are a little bit they're way more advanced than the A0 control.
Okay.
Like it's like stepping from like an icebox Haas to like
Icebox, huh?
like a 2008 Haas or something like that. Like it's that different.
Yeah.
Um, or ice chest Haas or whatever they call them. The plastic ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see, but it was fantastic to have both machines running. They both just killed it. It was a good weekend. Like it was really long. Like it was really, really long day on Sunday at the shop, but I really enjoyed it. Both machines were running great. I broke my first tap in the Speedio, which was
Uh-oh.
just it was a dumb, stupid mistake.
Of course it was.
Well, so I was copying tool paths from the last time I ran a vacuum fixture plate, and I always use 1/8 inch holes as my hold down holes. So 1/8 inch, and then I tap at 632 with a 632 form tap, and then 1/8 inch holes for my through holes to create the vacuum. And on the TC, apparently the last time I ran them, my tool 8 was my 1/8 inch, and on the brother and on all of my machines ever, I don't know why the hell it was tool 8, but it's always tool 7, and so I just didn't even see that. And my tool 8 is a 1/16th, so I drilled with a 1/16th end mill and then tried to go in there and form tap it with
Oh,
632 and just
jeez.
snapped it right off. And like it even like popped up the vacuum plate a little bit, and like everything was fine, but it was like just uh, again, I'll mention this probably, I don't know, once every 6 months on the podcast. This profession, this like machining has a way of just like knocking you right in the ego, right when you're like, man, I got this. I'm gonna rush around and get all this stuff done, and
Yeah,
then it's like,
no.
no, you're not, you idiot. So I like loaded up a really crappy old 2 flute end mill and just drilled out what was left of the tap and the fixture plate. And thankfully, it was all savable. I could stone the top of the fixture plate and continue to use it. And now there's just like a nice little circle of, little divot of high speed steel on the bottom there, that just a reminder like, hey, idiot, maybe check your tools next time.
Oh, boy.
Like all the heights were fine because they were all set, but like it was just the wrong freaking tool. And of course, I didn't stop. Like the weird thing is like, I don't know, 90% of the time I stop the machine and I look at the hole and make sure that they look fine before I tap it. And this one
Yeah.
I was like so sure of myself. I was like, all right, got that done. Let's tap that thing. And it was like boom, and I was like, oh, stupid idiot. And like I knew the second I opened the door what I had done. And I was just like, oh god, that's so dumb.
I've done that when you're watching a tool go down and you're like, it's got enough clearance. Keeps going. You're like, I should probably stop it. No, it's got enough. And you're like, nope.
Yep. So anyway, that was my little boo boo this week, and nice little ego gut punch.
Yeah,
Um,
seriously.
thankfully I had was successful, more or less successful the rest of the weekend, so
That's
it
good.
it made up for it. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So questions wise, we had two from Andy Clark, HH Clark on Instagram. He asked, do we say thou or do you say thousandth? He's got a real bone to pick with people who say thou, saying that it's imprecise. What are your thoughts?
I say thou when it's to someone I know that knows what thou means. Because, like, if I say it to a machine, it's like thou, like they get that. But like, if it's to like my friend and I'm trying to explain like thousandths of an inch, like I'll say that. I'll say it out.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I say thou and I say tenth. To anybody, if I said tenth and I was talking about a measurement like that, and they're not a machinist, they're gonna think 100 thou.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if it's a machinist, I usually say thou. I usually say tenth. Does that make me lazy? Probably. Is it still what I'm gonna do? Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely.
Have you seen Pearson's latest video with he's talking to Mark Terryberry and they were talking about this?
Yeah, I did. I laughed a little bit when I saw that. I was like, oh well,
Yeah,
it is
like
what it is.
yeah, like a scale versus a metal rule.
Yep. Maybe it makes me wrong. Maybe I put my M codes before my T codes, but that's the way I'm gonna do it. Damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, who ended up winning that poll?
Oh, T first. There was, I think it was 64 something percent.
Really?
Yeah, just 64% of these misguided
You
machinists
guys are
out there.
weird out there.
It was great, actually. I was talking to a coworker last week or maybe at the beginning of this week, and I said that I was talking about like, oh yeah, like it's just the way that you learn. Like I always put M codes first, and he looked at me. He's like, dude, so do I, and everybody else is wrong. And I was like, yes, we are friends now. So yeah, anyway. And then, okay, so Andy also had the question, leave the last tool in the spindle when the program is done, or do you call up the first tool for the next time?
I just do what Fusion does, and it never does the first tool.
So it doesn't with the Haas post, but with the brother post, it does.
Interesting.
So I also do what my post does, and I'd have no problem with. I'm not going to edit it for that. Like, I like having the first tool in there; it's faster. I mean, really, with that tool changer, it doesn't matter at all. But
Yeah.
it's just nice. Like, I know usually it like goes back to a tool that's very far from the last tool, so I can hear it too. From like if there's a really long tool change from like
You know that
13
the
to
cycle's
1.
over.
Yeah, exactly. So it very much signals the end of the cycle. Like on these on the grills, it was changing from my what was I doing last? My chamfer tool to the facing tool that I was using for it, and like they're 4 or 5 apart, whereas everything else was like 1 or 2 apart. And so I knew from across the shop, I'm like, oh, that's cycle done. Sweet.
One thing I do like about not having it is, I don't know, there's always that fear that something goes weird and your program's going to screw up, even though I've never had it happen yet. But, it's nice when I hit cycle start, like it takes like, even if it's half a second to rotate and go get another tool, it's like, okay, like it, instead of just going straight down.
Yeah, I understand that totally. Yeah. Yeah, you've never worked on old enough machines to see true machine glitches. You're
No,
lucky.
I have. Just trust me. My last job, freaking Mori Evo 5-axis machines are garbage.
Oh, I've heard nothing but bad things about like all of the Evo line.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the Evo and the Eco line, both of those I've heard were just like true mistakes on
Yeah, pretty
Maury's part.
much. They literally designed the machine around the tool changer.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, no.
Yeah, because I've worked on like there was an 83 kitty at the first job I had that sometimes if you hit reset and you didn't home the axes or you didn't home them all the way, it would just think that that was G54 now. And so, like, one time, thankfully, I caught it just as it touched the part, but like, I didn't home Z all the way. Like, it had come down a little bit, and then I was like, oh, I got to edit something. And so I edited it, re uploaded the program, hit cycle start, and it came down an extra half an inch with the face mill and was just about
Jeez.
to plow the crap out of the part. And it like touched it, and went, and I stopped it with the feed hole. And I was like, ooh,
Ooh.
okay, let's back that up and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had machines do all kinds of strange things, but thankfully, most of the new machines I've worked on don't do that. It's been weird old machines that you're like, oh yeah, you're just losing your mind, like old people, like old machines, they just start losing a little bit.
It's kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, but yeah, all right. So I think those are answers, Andy. I don't know if they're the answers you wanted to hear, but that's what we got for you. Um, Yeah, and then I guess we should mention that you have shipped or are going to ship shortly the shirts.
Yeah, those went out today, this morning. I don't know if it if they'll ship today or if they ship tomorrow. I'm guessing by tomorrow they'll all be out except for, no, actually all of them. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who ordered, again, thank you so much for supporting us. We hope you like the shirts. I know I love the BrickTactical one you sent me a while back, and like that, I think I told you the other day, it's the same T-shirt that the Mari Tool ones are printed on
Yep.
too. Next level or something like that, and they're super soft and like they seem to wear really well too. None of my Mari tools are fading or anything like that. So I know I'm super excited to get my shirt, and I don't think I'll be wearing it to work, but I'll definitely be wearing it to the shop and like around on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah, I'm wearing
uh,
my hoodie right now. I know some people wanted those now.
oh yeah, I know a few people commented on that. I think we'll probably we had talked off air, probably hold off till like next winter on that,
Yeah, when it
or
actually gets cold.
yeah, or maybe fall. Like I guess places get cold in the fall, but like I don't know. I'm like 4 weeks from 100-degree summer, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely putting away all my long pants and sweaters and all that stuff.
Yeah, one thing
So
for all the people that got shirts, and then if any of our guests are listening, they're all getting shirts too that have been on the podcast. But I would recommend washing them first just to soften them up a little bit more. I mean, when I picked them up at the local company, they were literally hot off the press, like they were literally warm. So I
that's
would
awesome.
just wash them, or if you want to throw it on and get dirty right away, then wash it. Like, be my guest.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. They looked so crisp in all your pictures and video. They
Yeah,
look really,
they
really
turned
nice.
out really well. They did a good job.
Yeah, and I guess next, before we do another shirt or anything, we do have stickers coming that we can start doing little sticker packs too. So we can maybe put those on your website or something soon and see where those go too.
Yeah, I
So
really
anybody who
like
didn't
the
get it,
holographic ones.
yeah, they so that was the second batch that I sent you, and that was through Sticker Mule. And I don't know if you noticed, like I was more than happy to give them away for free, but they still had some issues in sharp corners.
Really?
Like there's a little bit of pock marking in the corners. This batches that I sent you was like almost non-existent, but like the first batch they sent me was so bad that I took pictures and sent it like pictures to them and was like, "Hey, you need to fix this. Like I know it was a sale, but this is unacceptable."
Really? Normally
Um,
they're pretty good.
yeah, well, this is a pre-order. I think they're still kind of sorting their process out, and I think if your logo has sharp corners, it does worse. Like if I had a round or like a roundel around my logo, I think it would look fine. They can punch circles and all that and like curves, no problem. But it's the like sharp corners of my M on my logo and around the P and stuff that did not do well. So
Come on, we're machinists. We should know never have sharp corners.
yeah, no. Well, and that's the thing is like had they made those rounded corners, I would never have known. Like there could have been a little bit of hologram that was not part of the logo in there, and I totally would have been fine. So I'm not even sure. Like, there's no way that they're making punches for every logo. So I'm not sure how they're doing it and what's causing it.
I'm pretty sure it's just a one of like the vinyl sticker machines I've looked at is it's just a little razor that follows it.
Right, right. So like they could have put corner rounding on every single one of those, and I would have been totally fine with it. I don't know if I need to say that next time or what, but anyway, I've got I think 100 of the within tolerance and then the my logo ones coming, not holographic, but just standard stickers. I don't know how many you have left, but we can start doing little sticker packs on your website or something for the people who uh, didn't want to get a shirt or just want some stickers or something like that. And that'll be a little easier on you labor wise too to get out. I think
Yeah,
just
and
put stuff
cheaper
in an
to ship
envelope.
for people.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Even I think internationally, stickers would be pennies on the dollar compared to shipping a shirt or something like that.
Yeah, much easier.
So next week we've got Drew Fab, who is the current holder of the Machinist Therapy Hotline barbecue vest. And he's going to be on talking about he's got his own business at home. He makes some really cool suspension components and stuff for I think Jeeps and off-road vehicles. And then he works doing 3D printing as his day job at a I can't remember what company it is. He'll have to fill us in, but he does like industrial 3D printing. And so we had talked months and months ago about having somebody on the podcast that actually does real additive manufacturing. And so I think he'll be a great guest to have on, and we'll put up a post this week to have you guys ask questions. But I think he's going to have a really interesting viewpoint on additive and all that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it would be cool to have him on. And then we already got a couple more guests planned that I'm also excited about.
Yeah, likewise. We've got yeah, it's going to be a good year, guys. We'll make it through everything that's going on now. As always, make sure to tag us. Post on your stories. We'll post you back. Send us definitely send us pictures of your
I
shirts
was
and
about
your
to
stickers
say,
once you get them. Yeah,
yeah,
we want to see you guys wearing them, and yeah, we just we really appreciate everybody sticking with us as always.
Yeah, I think we got to do some kind of contest of like you got to wear your shirt in front of your machine or like something, and I want to see like some within tolerance shirts next to like a Hermla or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk this week about something, and maybe by the next podcast we can come up with what we're going to give away. But I like that. That's
Yeah,
really good idea.
yeah. So keep us posted, guys. Tag us, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week.